is a gorgeous autumn Sunday in Philadelphia. Sellout crowd on hand, and the NFL's lone unbeaten. The Minnesota Vikings come to town to take on the 3-2 Philadelphia Eagles. And I again, everybody, alongside the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman and Aaron Andrews. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to the NFL on Fox. It's a very interesting game on a number of fronts today. And really, you begin with Sam Bradford. It wasn't that long ago he was putting on a Philadelphia practice jersey every day during the preseason. And now he comes into town as a 4-0 quarterback for Minnesota.
Well, to do what he's done in such a short period of time is really impressive. And I think when you look at this offense, it's not the Vikings offense that we're accustomed to seeing. Adrian Peterson goes down in week 2. And for a team that has been accustomed to running the football, that's not been the case here this year. So for Sam Bradford to do what he's done, even more impressive. The best thing he's done is not turn the ball over, and that's good, because with this defense that he's playing with, they are just simply not giving up any points. The Eagles are going to have a tough time moving the football against this group, as everybody has all year long. This is going to be a heck of a defensive battle.
Philadelphia's been mighty good here at home. The last time they played, they roughed up the Steelers. For more on the quarterbacks, we're going to check in with Aaron when we come back. Here in Philadelphia, Vikings and the Eagles around the corner. Quarterbacks obviously are a big story each and every week, especially so in this one today. How about it, Aaron?
Yeah, and Minnesota's quarterback Sam Bradford hearing it from his teammates and coaches all week, joking with him, today's just another game. Not at all. Sam Bradford saying it is an odd week prepping for the team he was with just 7 weeks ago. Back in March, he signed a 2-year extension with the Eagles, and then at the end of April, the Eagles moved up in the draft to get Carson Wentz second overall. Of course, August 30th, quarterback Teddy Bridgewater goes down in Minnesota for the season. Sam Bradford heads to Minnesota, and then September 5th, Carson Wentz named starter for the season opener. And of course, the storyline continues with Carson Wentz, who tries to end this 2-game losing streak today against the team he grew up cheering for. He joked with us, everybody back in Fargo, North Dakota, cheering for the Vikings. He wants to spoil their afternoon.
Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
About 4 days ago, through most of the heartland of America and along the eastern seaboard, temperatures in the low 80s. And now we're down into the low 60s, but all in all, a beautiful Sunday. And you saw the wind gusting from 20 to 30 miles per hour, and right before we get started, where the Vikings have won the toss, they deferred to getting the ball in the second half. The ball blows off the tee.
Well, I saw Sam Bradford down on the field in pregame warmups, and the wind was a bit of a concern for him. And we'll see if it plays into the ball game in the passing game for these two teams.
Walsh spins it away, and back through the back end of the end zone out to the 25 comes a 23-year-old out of Bismarck, North Dakota. Grew up a Minnesota Vikings fan, idolizing Brett Favre, and that would be the rookie Carson Wentz. Had his first, I guess you could say, hiccup, Troy, last week, although the offense didn't do much to provide better numbers in 11 of 22. He was very, very good the first 4 games of the year.
Yes, he was, and you're right. I guess if you were to look at his first 5 games and say, was last week a rookie moment, I guess you would say it was, comparatively speaking, but I think a lot of it had to do with that offensive line. Not a lot of protection in that game last week.
We will be watching the right side of that line all day. They throw to the right side, and the first pass is completed to Nelson Aguilar. Well, the first 3 games of the season, the Eagles did not turn the ball over one time, piling up 31 points per game, just short of 400 yards and a lot of yards in the passing game. Last 2, both losses, everything down, sacks up.
Well, the best thing they've done this year is protect the football. And you know, the other thing the last 2 weeks is they've just had far too many penalties, something they were able to avoid.
All right, go ahead. I'll put the ball on the tee for you.
Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, that's Vaitai, the rookie right tackle, coming off a tough first NFL start last week. And he's a concern, in my opinion, when you talk about the struggles that he had. Heck, through the first 4 weeks, he was not even in uniform. So his first game to even get in uniform was also his first start in this league, and it was a tough afternoon.
Yeah, right from the get-go, going up against Ryan Kerrigan and the Redskins. So second down, they'll turn and hand it to Ryan Matthews. And he is met by the leading tackler a year ago of these Vikings, Eric Kendricks. Don't know if one single guy stands out, but boy, they get after people. Number 2 overall, number 1 in points allowed per game.
Yeah, and it's a little bit like what we see in Seattle with, not real complicated on early downs and a group of veteran players that know Mike Zimmer's defensive scheme. He still calls the defensive plays. He still installs the defense during the week, and these guys are able to cut it loose on Sunday, knowing exactly what the assignments are.
Third down at 5. And it looked like Green Beckham was not expecting the football. That may have hit him right in the face, if not the neck. That was a perfect throw. Should have been a first down.
Yeah, it was. He's working against Xavier Rhodes. He slips just a little bit as he's trying to come out of that break. But, Xavier Rhodes, these are physical, aggressive corners. And I think he got physical there with Beckham and just enough to throw him off and not able to convert the third down.
So now on the punt, Donnie Jones, and he blasts this one, backing up Sherrills, who's already returned a pair of punts for touchdowns this year. And look out for Marcus Sherrills. Anytime he puts his hands on the football, dropped to the 19-yard line by Trey Burton. Hey, by the way, before we talk about Sam Bradford, did you just punt the right tackle's name of the Eagles? I'm going to get back to that in a minute.
Talking about Halapoulivaati? Is that what you're saying? Vaitai?
Boy, you're on it. You're on it. There you have it.
Well, hey, they ended up last week having to give him some help against the Washington Redskins, and this defensive front is even more of a challenge, and they'll need to continue to give him some help here this afternoon.
Asiata in the backfield. He was busy last week, by far his busiest day of this young season. Sam Bradford traded 8 days before the season opener, spent 1 year here in Philadelphia. That's in 4 starts. After being traded over, Sean Hill started the first game of the year in a victory against Tennessee. Bradford has started every game since, has not thrown a single interception. His first pass is caught by Asiata out of the backfield, and he's up to the 25-yard line. It'll bring up third down and 4. Now, this is not an offense. It's piling up the points or piling up the yards per game in any form or fashion.
Well, there's just not a lot really to hang their hat on, to be honest with you, because they've had to try to protect an offensive line. They're without their 2 starting tackles that have gone down, and they're on IR. They've had some adjustments that have had to be made, and Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator, they got to get the ball out of Bradford's hands quickly, and they've not been able to run the ball with any effectiveness.
And it's dropped by Asiata, although Leotis McKelvin was right there in front of him had he made the tackle, so each team 3 and out.
As we talked about, I think that, it's always going to be tough to move the ball against the Vikings. They're as good as there is in this league, top 5 in virtually every major category. Most points they've given up all season, week 1, was 16 points. So the Eagles defensively, they have to know coming into this game they've got to match that. And it's a good start for them with a 3 and out.
Jeff Locke set to punt it away. Great return then for each team today. Sherrills, and on the other side, Darren Sproles. Great coverage there. There's a penalty flag well behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, that might be running into the kicker, Tom, and if it is, that'll be a first down.
Running into the kicker, defense 54. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
That's Kamu Bruje-Hill.
Yeah, not smart. Yeah, we talked about it already. They had the false start on Vaitai when they get a nice gain on first down on the opening possession. Another defensive stop. We saw it last week with Fletcher Cox. They stop an opponent, and they're going to have to settle for a field goal. Instead, a drive stays alive, and they end up scoring a touchdown. And now to force the Vikings to punt. And you see right there what's happened. Lead the league with the most penalties per game. And it's just something that has really hurt this football team here for now 2 weeks and then the early part of this game.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks they've committed 27 penalties for nearly 230 yards. 27. First carry of the day for Jerick McKinnon. You know, McKinnon and Masiata, you brought up the name earlier about Adrian Peterson. No one replaces Peterson. Seagulls defense, numbers are pretty good. Third in points per game. Under first-year defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Looking down the field. And it's incomplete. Able to recover there. That ball slightly underthrown. It looked like Johnson got behind Nolan Carroll.
Well, Charles Johnson was about 4 yards past Carroll, and that was a touchdown. And good protection up front. He's able to hold it a little bit. And you're going to see, you know, just kind of slow plays him coming off the ball, and Carroll's expecting the ball to come out, because the one thing that we've not been able to see from the Vikings is the deep shots down the field. They've just simply not trusted protection enough to take enough of those deep balls. Carroll, they catch him flat-footed. Bradford misses a great opportunity for what would have been 6 points.
Third and 9. That is the security blanket for Bradford, and that's a big tight end, Kyle Rudolph. It looks as though he will be just short, maybe a yard short of a first down. He is, and they'll punt it.
We'll see if they're able to now get off the field. So the Eagles defensively do another good job of forcing the punt after giving them the first down running into the punter.
Sproles 7 punt returns for touchdowns in his outstanding NFL career. Still going strong at 33 years young in his 12th season. Another great punt. No score. Nearly 5 minutes in Philadelphia. Second possession for Carson Wentz. First rookie quarterback since a merger to start and win his first 3 games in a season without an interception. You see what he's done at home. Last time they were here, they blasted the heavily favored Steelers 34-3. Handed off to Ryan Matthews. Matthews always been a good back when you can get him on the field. The #1 pick in San Diego, had a couple of 1,000-yard rushing seasons, but he has missed a pile of games. Over 24 in his NFL career.
He's a physical runner, and as you said, he's been productive when he's, you know, been available. But this is one of those games. Of course, they want to run the football anyway. They came into the year wanting to run the football, knowing they had a young quarterback. But even more important, whether they're successful running it, that was a successful first down run. Stay with it, because you can't get into a situation where Wentz is dropped back throwing it all day.
Play action on second down. Hit as he threw. And a penalty flag down. Looked like Robinson delivered the hit.
Holding, offense number 76. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
It's Alan Barber, the left guard.
Yeah, it was Alan Barber who got hurt. He's right here, left guard, he's the one who got called for the penalty, and it was against Shamar Stephen. But Stephen is the one who got the pressure into Wentz and hit him, and then Robinson came in. There was talk last week about trying to maybe move Barber to right tackle when Lane Johnson missed the game and will miss many because of his suspension. But Doug Peterson said that's not going to happen. He's a left guard, and moving him to the right side simply is not in their plans.
So another Eagles penalty. Second down throw. And it's intercepted off the batted ball. And it is Sendejo inside the 5-yard line, and the Vikings in business. He had an eye on a tight end, Brent Selleck. But Selleck was covered and covered well, and Sendejo has his second interception in as many games.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it got batted or not. I think it might have just been a high throw, but there's certainly pressure inside, and that causes an errant throw by Wentz, and just excellent coverage there by Eric Kendricks, in perfect position for Sendejo to make a play. This is an opportunistic defense. The only thing that surprised me, they didn't return for a touchdown.
120. Out of the I formation. And stuffed at the line of scrimmage is Asiata. Second and goal coming up.
This Vikings defense is tough as there is. I mean, they are a really talented bunch. A lot of good players on that side of the ball. They're well coached, and they just don't make mistakes. And when you make one, they make you pay. That was a costly one, backed up. The ball that gets away from Wentz, and Sendejo just in a perfect position to make a play on the ball.
That is 13 takeaways for this Minnesota defense. Number one in that category as well in the NFL. It's where they normally look for Rudolph. Early movement. And they're pointing at Red Ellison. There's someone on the right side.
Offense number 85. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
See it right there. It's TJ Clemmings. Another penalty in this game, and this time going against the Vikings.
You know, the other thing to keep an eye on, you mentioned the name Clemmings. You see in the game for the first time is Jake Long, former #1 overall pick in the draft from Miami. They just signed him this week. Only in pads one day, but they'd like to get him somewhere between 25 and 30 plays. Incomplete with an eye on Stephon Diggs.
Well, Mike Zimmer told us yesterday that they were going to get him into the lineup and let him get about 20-25 snaps in this game. He practiced only one day in pads, missed virtually the entire season last year. He's definitely rusty, but he's in a little bit earlier than I expected. Mike Zimmer acted like it might be the third series or so, but he puts him in here now, down here around the goal line. He's going to knock some of that rust off right away. But third and goal from here. This would be a huge stop defensively if the Eagles force a field goal.
It's intercepted in the end zone. First interception thrown this year. Or is it an interception? It is. Coming out of there is Rodney McLeod, the first interception thrown by Bradford this season.
Well, there's pressure in his face, but Bradford just completely misses the safety and throws into coverage.
Big stop indeed for the Eagles defense. A huge swing in momentum after the interception thrown by Carson Wentz. First interception as a Viking for Sam Bradford, and you carry it into last year, 158 pass attempts without a single interception. In fact, that is the first turnover this year by the Minnesota Vikings offense. Catch out of the backfield by Brent Selleck. And that's a gain of 7. That's hard to believe, playing in their 6th game, their first turnover.
Well, TJ Clemmings, as we saw, he moved over to right tackle, and you're going to see Brandon Graham here. He just beats him right off the ball inside. He gets the pressure on Bradford that affects the throw, and Bradford loses sight of McLeod in the back end. Even without pressure, McLeod was in the perfect position to make a play on the ball, so great job defensively. I was talking it'd be a huge play if they were able to force a field goal attempt. They don't give up any points.
Second down, good protection this time, and that's Hunt. And he has the first Eagles first down up to the 39-yard line.
We're going back to TJ Clemmings at right tackle because Jake Long steps in there on the left side. TJ Clemmings started every game at right tackle last year, and he's kind of had an up and down year. He was up and down last year as well, and he'll have some lapses to where he allows a rusher a free shot, and Brandon Graham coming into this game was a concern to offensive coordinator Norv Turner, and he's now gone from the 3-4 back to what he's comfortable doing, rushing the passer as a defensive end. He makes a heck of a play.
Fumbled on the exchange. Wentz trying to get it. It's still a live ball. And the Vikings have the football. It looks like Anthony Barr, after 3 or 4 guys whiffed on a chance to get it, starting with Sproles, and another big turnover by this Philadelphia Eagles offense.
I couldn't tell exactly what happened on the exchange. I don't know if Sproles got his arm up or not. Nope, you know what? It came right out of Wentz's hand as he never placed it in there. The ball's coming loose from Carson Wentz. Sproles never has a chance to even take the handoff on that one, and then with an opportunity, a couple of guys there, Wentz and Sproles, to get on it, and they failed to do so.
Two teams are 8-2 combined. You never know in watching the first quarter on offense so far today. So now Bradford, a chance at redemption, and he's stripped. The football is loose. Has it gone back to Philadelphia? That's Malcolm Jenkins. There is a flag on the play, and Jenkins is going to race to the end zone. But we wait on the penalty as that ball is stripped away by Connor Barwick. John Hussey, our referee, about to make a very important announcement to this sellout crowd.
Personal foul, face mask, offense, number 72. The ruling on the field is a touchdown. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
There's the face mask there, and Connor Barwin just simply runs right past Jake Long, and looks like that's going to be down there. Malcolm, we'll take a closer look at it and we'll see. But you see Connor Barwin come around. He just beats Jake Long, and looks like there's a touch there by Kyle Rudolph. That's should be coming back. But like you said, Tom, for two teams that had only turned the ball over 3 times combined coming into this game, we've seen 3 turnovers in the first 9 minutes.
Yeah, and only 2 of the 3 were on offense. The Vikings' only turnover before today was on a defensive fumble. This is a big decision. The judiciary is out. We'll be back. Back in Philadelphia, and we're waiting naturally on any change of possessions or scoring play. They will review it.
After review, the runner was touched down by contact on the 24-yard line. We will put the ball and enforce the 15-yard penalty from there. It'll be Philadelphia's ball, 1st and 10. Will the clock operator please reset the game clock to 6:44?
Don't know if he meant to do it or not. Rudolph clearly was trying to find the football, but that's an alert play if he was trying to do it to get a hand before Malcolm Jenkins race the other way for a touchdown. Look at this. First 318 offensive plays of the year. The Vikings don't turn it over once.
Well, that last one, well, both of them really. I mean, Brandon Graham affected the interception, and then Connor Barwin comes off the opposite side against Jake Long, who, as we said, is rusty. It'll be interesting to see if Mike Zimmer elects to go back with Jake Long, right away, or waits, or whether he gets in at all, or move T.J. Clemmings back to that left side. But the Vikings have had a tough time, and not just this year, last year as well. They've had a tough time now for a few years, really having to try to protect those offensive linemen. They're struggling.
They pitch it to Matthews. But boy, when things aren't going your way on offense and you turn it over to this defense to try and get it back for you. Number 2 overall in yards per game. Number 1 in fewest points allowed per game. 2nd in sacks. 1st in takeaways. Neither team much to speak of. 41 total yards. Wentz delivers to Huff, and he is tackled by the Pro Bowl free safety Harrison Smith. Well, we've heard a lot about Carson Wentz, and we'll let you get to know him a little bit. Grew up in North Dakota, loves the outdoors. Grew up a Minnesota Vikings fan and collected jerseys. His idol was Brett Favre. Made a few bucks as a kid umpiring baseball, and if all else fails, I don't know about all those numbers in the back. They get me nervous even now.
I don't know that he's going to need that backup career plan. I think he's pretty much set.
Third down. Steps away from pressure. Throws. And it nearly intercepted, or was it intercepted? It looked like Xavier Rhodes picked it off, and he did. A diving attempt by Rhodes, and that's his second interception of the year, the 5th turnover in this first quarter. Well, who wants to hang on to the football for a little while? Look at this. They're working out of the Wildcat formation. And that is McKinnon, who ran a lot of that as a quarterback during his collegiate days at Georgia Southern, and that's nearly a 9-yard gain.
We'll go back and take a look at that interception, and a great scheme by defensive caller Mike Zimmer. He goes to corner here, and then he comes underneath, which allows the safety on the other side to give help. So they take what looks like a single high safety into 2 deep and confuses the quarterback.
Malcolm Jenkins coming from the strong safety spot, denying a first down for McKinnon.
So you go back and look, he's got safety help over the top there, and that's why Xavier Rhodes can play underneath that receiver, and there was nothing there. Wentz should have seen that when he comes back and works that side. He tries to fit a ball in when there really was not a window to be had. But Xavier Rhodes makes a heck of a play on the ball.
Take a look at that. 7 possessions. Each of the last 5 offensive possessions have ended in a turnover. Zach Line for a first down on 3rd and 1. That is the first Vikings first down of this opening quarter. The other came on a penalty.
Well, I know, talking to Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, you know, they got embarrassed last week. They ran for over 230 yards, the Washington Redskins did, and this defensive front was not very good. And he knows that he's limited in some areas on this defense, and that front 4 has to play good for them to be good on that side of the ball. They're off to a heck of a start in this one.
First down, they're going to throw it. And it's slightly thrown behind Rudolph. Good coverage by Jenkins. An early injury update on the Vikings. How about it, Aaron?
Safety Andrews Ndeho, Tom. He's actually been carted off. They're calling it questionable to return. He was injured when he intercepted Carson Wentz. They tried to retape that ankle, but needed to take him in for further look.
They have been quite pleased with the play of Sendejo, second-year full-time starter. Had over 100 tackles a year ago, so that's a big blow to this defense.
Yeah, I think when you start listing the players they're pretty happy with on defense, it's a pretty long list.
Bradford running for his life, just throws it up, and that was nearly intercepted. A penalty flag comes down. Jenkins and Diggs got tied up down around the 20-yard line.
Well, Sam Bradford, he just gives this guy an opportunity down the field. There really wasn't much there, and Bradford unable to get much on it, and Diggs has to work back to the ball, and that's where the contact.
And that was Jalen Mills down there. I had said Bradford. Jenkins, I beg your pardon. It's a rookie out of LSU.
Well, Jalen Mills got his first start last week, and he struggled a little bit in that ball game. There were times when he was beat, and the Redskins really weren't able to take advantage of it.
How about that? No foul.
Third down.
So they pick up the flag.
They got pressure here around the edge, as you're going to see Michael Kendricks come free, and Bradford just trying to keep from getting sacked. He just sees his man one-on-one and gives him a chance, and I don't know why they picked the flag up. To me, that's pass interference, textbook pass interference.
I tell you what, for a 0-0 game, This has been a wild opening quarter. 3rd down and 10 for Minnesota.
Well, Jalen Mills is once again on Diggs, their best receiver down here at the bottom, and they better give him some help or he's going to have a tough afternoon.
Dump it off out of the backfield. A 5-yard gain and another punt. Bradford coming back to Philadelphia. I mean, it's not as the injured Eagle there as Ron Brooks. You know, you hit the nail on the head early today with Carissa Thompson over on FS1. And, you know, Bradford was only here 1 year. Made 14 starts. They went 7-7 in those starts. He had some very good moments through 19 touchdowns, through 14 picks. But so far today, it's been a rough day for both of these offenses. Back in a moment. Ron Brooks, still the injured Eagle down in the field.
There's Ron Brooks there, 33, and looked like that right knee maybe is what happened, but he's down and they're still tending to him on the field, and he's their nickel corner, and now without him they would likely move Malcolm Jenkins to the slot nickel position. He's played some corner in his past and then bring in another safety to take his place deep, but this looks pretty serious.
Well, while we have a moment and they continue to work on Brooks, let's check in back in LA, a game break with Kurt Minniff. But Ware's had back-to-back, well, a start today anyway, but coming off a great week last week for Kansas City, and certainly our thoughts are with Ron Brooks. Came over as a free agent from Buffalo, a starter and first of the first 5 this year. So we're waiting on a punt coming up by Minnesota. 3:20 to go in this scoreless opening quarter. Locke has been among the very best at pinning opponents inside the 15-yard line so far this year. Has 13 of those. End over end trying for number 14. Great coverage, and they down it inside the 2, and that's Cordero Patterson. Patterson's been all over the field again this year after being in the witness protection program last year.
He's getting more opportunities on offense. This is great work on his part, getting down and keeping this from getting into the end zone, and it's hard enough moving the ball against this defense when you've got all the plays at your disposal. But look, Doug Peterson right now, how you're going to dig out of this hole on the 2-yard line against this defense? Good luck.
But Patterson had the spectacular rookie year. He went to the Pro Bowl. He scored receiving touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, ran a kickoff back for a touchdown. And then last year he had 2 catches a whole year. You didn't even know he was on the team. And now all of a sudden, in all facets of the game, trying to live up to that #1 pick, and there's early movement. Looked like Tom Johnson.
Encroachment. 92 of the defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's excellent job by Carson Wentz as a young player. Doug Peterson might have even told him in his headset, you know, use the hard count, and if you jump on offense down there, it doesn't really mean much. You're going to back up a yard. What's the difference? But sure helps you kind of give yourself a little space if you're able to pull the Vikings into that neutral zone, which they do with Tom Johnson. Well done.
And that'll be enough for very close anyway. A first down for Ryan Matthews. It has been a turnover fest so far in this one. 3 of them for Philadelphia. 2 of them for a Minnesota Vikings offense that came in through 5 games without a single turnover.
A pretty crazy start, as we said. I mean, offensively, they've been able to protect the ball, but both these defenses have been decent. You know, the Vikings better than the Eagles, but even the Eagles have done a good job in the early part of this year of creating takeaways. Both of them have been great here in this one.
Kenyon Barner checks into the backfield. That Sproles in motion. Quick hit and a catch by Matthews. A first down up to the 23-yard line.
Well, we'll see what happens, you know, with the rest of this drive, but already this has been a successful possession for the Philadelphia Eagles to be backed up on the 2-yard line. The first thing as an offense, you're just wanting to get a first down and give your punter some room to operate, and they were able to do that. They used the hard count, pick up 5, and then they get the first down, and now they've gotten their second first down, and now they can let it rip.
Wide receiver screen to Doriel Beckham-Green. And he's wrapped up by Kendricks.
Well, I think that if you look at both of these offenses, you know, especially in today's game, on what they have to do, we've seen both offensive lines have some problems when they've asked the quarterback to hold the ball. And you're going to see more and more of those types of throws. Get the ball out. Don't take sacks. Don't get the ball stripped from you. And then try to run the ball as best you can. But we felt coming in this would be a defensive battle, and it sure has been here in this first quarter.
Second down at 7. That's Wendell Smallwood, the rookie out of West Virginia, who's given him some bright moments so far this year.
You know, you were talking about Carson Wentz growing up a Minnesota Vikings fan, and I thought it was pretty funny when we were talking to him. He's got some friends in from North Dakota, and they're all Vikings fans, and one of them is staying with him, and Carson said, "You're not staying with me unless you buy an Eagles jersey." And he was serious, and his friend needed a place to sleep, so he went and bought one. I don't know what number he bought.
Well, he better buy number 11. I mean, he's putting you up for free.
You'd hope.
I guess it all depends on how badly you want to come back. Third down. Well, that's a dangerous throw, but Wentz made it. And Aguilar the reception to move the chains at the 35. Wow, that's a risky throw out there.
Yeah, it is. You got to be really good with the ball, but every throw like this against this defense is going to be challenged.
We're off to the second quarter in a scoreless game after a word from your local Fox station. You got to go all the way back to 2005. Washington and Arizona, the last time you saw a game with 5 consecutive turnovers in the first quarter of a game, and we've seen that here today. This drive started inside the 2-yard line. And that sack hurts. And that's a gain of 14 for another Philadelphia first down. Well, how about this? I mean, the Cubs and the Indians. You talk about a fall classic indeed. Coverage begins. Game 1. Pre-game show on FS1, 7 p.m. Eastern. Then the game on Fox at 7:30 Eastern. Cubs' first World Series appearance since '45. They've not won one since '08. The Indians have not won a World Series since 1948. Something has to give there. Wentz rolling and had a wide open Zach Ertz, but Brent Selleck is standing all the way at the 25, and there's not a player within 15 yards of him.
Well, he's got to get the ball out a little bit quicker than what he would have wanted, and not able to get his feet set. As you see when he comes out, looks like it was Griffin who comes up the field and doesn't allow him then to get set or get on the edge, and has to deliver the ball sooner than what he wanted. We've seen that now a couple of times where he hasn't been sacked, but the pass rush has clearly affected the throw.
All eyes were on Ertz there because he was the intended target, but it was Selleck. We didn't have anybody near him. This will be a false start against the Eagles.
False start. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, that's a longtime center, Pro Bowl center, Jason Kelsey. He had 2 holding penalties in the game last week against the Redskins.
Yeah, that's his 7th penalty on the season. He has the most penalties on this team. really see a lot there.
No doubt. Second down at 15. Pressure coming. And through the hands of the normally sure-handed Darren Sproles. Greenway in coverage. Third down coming up.
Well, Vaitai, he's one-on-one. They don't give him any help, and he gets backed in a little bit to Carson Wentz, but he does a good enough job to allow the ball to come out. And you know, Sproles, you just don't see that a lot from him. He's a terrific player out of the backfield and catching the ball, but this third and long stuff, this is when Mike Zimmer dials up a lot of pretty different looks, and he likes to rush 5, but you don't know what 5 they're going to be.
Well, they're going to call a timeout. There was a lot going on there, a lot of moving parts. Play clock got down to 1. And before a 3rd and 15. Timeout, Philadelphia, still no score. Third down and 15. And Wentz out of the shotgun. Good protection here. And looking down the field and overthrows. Aguilar down the sideline. Again, it slipped behind a Minnesota defender. That's a couple of big missed chances on this drive.
It was a missed opportunity, but Wentz turns this ball loose really soon. I mean, it was not a given that Aguilar was going to be open up the sideline, and that ball is out long before he gets past the last defender, but there was good protection in the pocket. Wentz not happy. Someone must have run a wrong route on him, but good protection that time of that line.
Well, it did look like Aguilar slowed down a little bit there. And that one is into the end zone and out to the 25. They miss Selleck on this drive. They miss Ertz on this drive. And did the Vikings get away with one right there on Aguilar? Well, if you've had a pretzel here in Philadelphia, chances are it was a federal pretzel. Over 100,000 of those baked daily and shipped out from right here in Philly. Offenses have been shipped out so far here today. First significant run by any carrier for either team. That's McKinnon. And that's a gain of close to 9.
A lot's been said about Sam Bradford and what he had to learn. We see McKinnon leaving the field, what he had to learn coming in here 8 days before the season opener. Take a look and see what maybe happened to him. Heck, this was his third offense that he's learned in the last 18 months.
Asiata breaks a couple of tackles and has a first down out across the 35-yard line.
And when he got here to Minnesota, had to spend a lot of time then with Norv Turner's son, Scott Turner. He's the quarterback coach, and go over the offense as best he could and try to get him up to speed and prepared to play. There's a look at Scott Turner there, and a lot of late nights and a lot of early mornings. And although Sam Bradford did not start week 1, he was certainly prepared to if he had to, but he was ready week 2, and of course he's up until today been protecting the ball and doing a lot of really nice things.
Asiata again cuts it back up the inside and out to the 42-yard lines. This has been a beat-up Minnesota Vikings team, especially on the offensive side of the football. Khalil, the left tackle, you know about Bridgewater and Adrian Peterson in week 2. Floyd, the Philadelphia kid, over on the defensive side, but back on offense, they're starting right tackle Andre Smith. And they're hoping Diggs can finally not only get healthy, stay healthy. Well, when you look back at that offensive line, and you touched on it earlier, Troy, you start the year and you go Khalil, Boone, Berger, Fusco, Smith. And now all of a sudden, Khalil on IR, Smith IR. They've had Boone miss time. Fusco 2 weeks ago had a concussion. He had to leave the game. I mean, they really tried to patch it together. It's amazing. They're still undefeated.
You see the different offensive line combinations. Last year, all 5 starters started every game last year. Much different picture here this season. TJ Clemens is back at left tackle.
Catch made on third down by Diggs, and that'll move the chains up to the 47-yard line.
You know, we were visiting with Jim Schwartz, and he's very familiar with Norv Turner and the things he wants to do as a play caller, and he talked about it. He said he wants to run the ball, and then he wants to go play action and take the shots down the field. He said that the only thing is this year they're not taking as many shots as he's accustomed to seeing, and that's the reason why. And there's Norv Turner, and yeah, he'd like to take some shots. He thinks he's got some matchups at the wide receiver position that they could take advantage of, but you got to protect if you're going to go 7 steps and take the shots down the field.
Asiata wrapped up, trying to break it to the outside. Destiny Bayou, the rookie, on the tackle.
There's the injury as he gets rolled up. Looked like that left ankle as we saw him go off, but had some problems with that running back position, keeping him up.
Good protection this time, and Bradford missed a wide open Diggs. Both of these quarterbacks, yes, they've been under pressure. Yes, they've been hit. But yes, they have missed some throws today.
Kind of a tough throw there. You could see that Sam Bradford's trying to tell Diggs that he wanted him to take a little bit higher angle to try to drop one over the defender like he was trying to do here is not necessarily an easy thing if he thinks he's taking him on a higher angle coming out of that route. And those are some of the things that when you haven't had the time with these receivers, you're kind of working it out on the fly.
Third down and 8. Bradford delivers a strike to the big tight end. Played at Notre Dame, Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph, he has become the security blanket as so many tight ends do for their quarterback, and Sam Bradford cuts it loose, just knowing that Rudolph was going to get where he was supposed to be and beat the linebacker, and good timing on that throw. And Sam Bradford said Rudolph was the guy who texted him first when the trade occurred, and those two guys have just really hit it off.
Handed off to Asiata, and not much room. Jenkins comes in to drop him at the line of scrimmage. And let's check in back in Los Angeles and say hello to Carissa. All right, Carissa, thank you. 10th play of this drive. By far the most significant drive for either team today.
Well, looks like Jim Schwartz might bring some pressure here. They start getting in field goal range as they are, and you want to try to get a big defensive play.
5-man rush. Had an eye on Thielen. Thielen has worked his way, grew up in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. College free agent out of Minnesota State. On the practice squad at 13. 8 catches a following year, 12 last year, and now all of a sudden Bradford's one of his favorite targets.
Well, he's benefited from really kind of just running the same plays and the same offense for 3 years, and he's just continued to work at it. He's gotten better and better, and he's having a good start to this year.
Vikings 2 of 2 on third down. Here they come after Bradford, and they're going to get to him. Not a sack, but underthrown, and it was Jalen Watkins. He's the Eagle that's in there playing after the injury earlier in the game to Ron Brooks.
Yeah, Schwartz, he calls blitz the last 2 plays, just trying to create a negative play and maybe, you know, knock him out of field goal range here. And Watkins almost is able to do it. Bradford's able to step up just enough and get the ball out and avoid the sack.
This will be a 48-yard field goal attempt. Blair Walsh has hit on 9 of 12 this year. He's got a lot of leg. I mean, he's had his ups and downs. This one is good for the first points of the game. You go back to the playoff miss a year ago, and Walsh trying to earn the respect back of his head coach. It's been an up and down relationship. 3-0 Minnesota. 12 plays, 50 yards. Not a turnover, believe it or not. Had 5 of them in the first quarter on 5 consecutive possessions. So now the Minnesota defense giving the lead after the Blair Walsh 48-yarder. Huff from the 2. And Huff with running room. Runs by the kicker, and he's off to the races. Inside the 20. Huff will go the distance. One week ago, it was Wendell Smallwood, an 86-yarder against the Redskins. This one, 98 yards for Josh Huff.
Well, it's a right return, and you're going to see the seas just part. I mean, there is a huge lane there for Huff to take, and Blair Walsh was the last line of defense, and he just didn't want a whole lot of Huff on that return. Special teams in a game like this oftentimes decides the outcome. That's a great return. Not just by Huff and the speed to be able to get it all the way into the end zone, but also the job blocking by the other 10 guys.
And then what would a touchdown be without the proverbial leap and somersault into the air?
I always wonder how those guys don't get hurt.
I'm with you all the way, Doctor. With you all. Of course, that's 50-year-old guys talking.
That's true.
Well, you're not there yet.
I didn't do it when I was their age either.
Flag on that point after.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, defense. Philadelphia is elected to go for 2 points from the 1-yard line.
All right, so we hold that score. It's 6-3. And that's Harrison Smith that tumbled into Sturgis.
That's a big penalty, and that's when they moved back the extra point. That was the thing that teams talked about, was if there was a penalty and you were able to cut that distance in half, and you would benefit and then go for 2, and that's what Doug Peterson is elected to do.
The Eagles have not attempted a 2-point conversion so far this year. The ball's at the 1-yard line. Matthews in the backfield. 3 receivers split to the left. And Wentz going to run it. Okay, Wentz is a good athlete, and he's in for the 2-point conversion. Wentz goes in for the 2-point conversion. 8-3 Eagles. All of a sudden, a little bit of excitement here in Philadelphia. 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. First time in team history they've gone in back-to-back weeks. It's interesting to note, those are the only 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns in the entire NFL so far this year.
Well, you go back to the kick return by Josh Huff. Just an excellent job up front in his lane. And again, there's Blair Walsh, and he just kind of throws his arms out there and doesn't sacrifice himself. And then it's off to the races for 6 points. And then Harrison Smith comes in, and he's trying to pull up. You can tell he's just off balance. And Mike Zimmer, he's seen about enough of this and the way that they have played here in this first half. And he's not opposed to letting a player have it. And he tells Harrison Smith what he thinks of that.
Chris Maraguz, outstanding special teams performer for Philadelphia, shaking up on that play. Back in a moment. Good to see Chris Maraguz able to walk off and appears to be all right. Alex Boone had left for a short time into the Minnesota locker room, but he's back out there on the first play. What an effort defensively there by the middle linebacker Jordan Hicks.
Yeah, you see him right here in the middle. He's able to shoot the gap. Nobody's able to get on him, and he just reads it out. Makes a heck of a play in the backfield, and this is a Vikings team. They loaded the box defensively, but this is a Vikings offense that has heavy run tendencies on first down. Over 60% of the time they run it, second most in the National Football League, and Jim Schwartz expecting run, and they create a loss on first down.
Well, they have Ronnie Hillman in the game, and that was because of the Injury to McKinnon, still standing on that sideline. Oh, is fortunate for Sam Bradford that one did not go the other way. Leotis McKelvin had nothing but green in front of him.
Yeah, I don't know if Sam was expecting man coverage on that, or he just expected McKelvin to be playing a little softer, but he reads it. He's cluing in through the quarterback and drives on it, and they're fortunate. McKelvin, who they're glad to get back. He's been battling a hamstring injury since the first game of the season. He's missed some time and was unable to play last week, but had an opportunity for a play.
Third down and 15 into the hands of Patterson, but sniffed out by that defense led by Connor Barwin, who slowed him down.
Well, we've seen a lot of the quick passing game from Sam Bradford, and when you continually have to go that route, that defense just starts clamping down more and more, and you know the field gets smaller and smaller, and then at some point you got to get them off of these guys. And so the Eagles are driving on the quick throws to the flat. Just not much there right now for the Vikings.
So these two teams each with exactly 76 yards of offense. 76. Very short punt. It will bounce, but good field position just beyond the 35. Well, on offense for these two teams, it's been this kind of a day. Whoops. 8-3. Take a look at the quarterbacks today. One interception by Bradford, his first of the year. A pair for Wentz. The only touchdown, a 98-yard kickoff return for Philadelphia's Josh Huff. Eagles with the ball. 7:12 to play in the second quarter. To Matthews. Gain of a yard.
We heard Carson Wentz there say kill, kill, and what that means is you're changing the play, and they bring Harrison Smith down on the right side, and when he comes down, that's when Carson Wentz recognizes it. They were likely going to run the ball to the offense's right side. He changes it, and they go opposite of him and try to get out of a bad play. They still don't pick up much, but good job at the line of scrimmage. They say he handles those types of things very well.
Well, you just heard him say the same thing again. Play action this time. And thrown behind. Zach Ertz, third down.
Sometimes you come up to the line and you make those dummy calls too, you know, so that could have been a run play, and then he changes it and they go with two plays in the huddle, and then he throws it, or he just says that at the line to throw off the defense and not let them think it's always going to be a run, and off play action, and they have an opportunity but unable to convert.
Tell you what, this offensive line has held up pretty well so far for Philadelphia. I mean, all things considered, it started ugly, but it's a lot better than it was a week ago when they were run over by the Redskins. Third down. Wide receiver screen to Matthews, and you can't play it any better than Robinson did right there. Pressure by Anthony Barr coming off the edge.
Well, that's the stuff that Mike Zimmer does so well, and this defense does. They show all these guys, and then you see Robinson, he pulls out. And then he's the guy there who's able to work through two blockers and make a play on the ball. And that's the challenge, is trying, when you get to third and long like the Eagles were there, it's really, really tough to decipher who's coming and who's not, who's dropping out. Good defensive possession there.
Low snap, Donnie Jones able to handle it. And a fair catch at the 23 by Marcus Sherrills. Screening saves lives in the NFL. The American Cancer Society encourage everyone to join in the fight against breast cancer. Learn more about a crucial catch day, October the 25th, and find out how you can help make a crucial catch at NFL.com/pink. Bo Allen grew up in Minnetonka, Minnesota. His mom a breast cancer survivor. They call him the polar bear when you grow up in Minnetonka.
Well, I think it's great what the league has done in partnering with the Susan G. Komen Foundation, and you see a lot of so many women and then likewise a lot of their sons impacted by that disease.
Bradford hit as he threw. Connor Barwin has been very active today. Bradham applying pressure there. Bonner played so many snaps. Barwin last week, they wanted to limit his number of snaps, worried about fatigue, and he's been quite active today.
Well, I've always liked Connor Barwin as a player, and he drafted by the Houston Texans, and he was drafted as a 4-3 defensive end. He switched to the stand-up linebacker position. As you see the pressure that they've been able to put on Sam Bradford, and I think right now he's back playing the position he's most comfortable playing.
Asiata dropped to the line of scrimmage.
But when you look at the numbers of Sam Bradford's, I mean, heck, he came into the season, or came into this game completing 70% on the season, and that secondary would get a lot of credit for what's happened, and yeah, they deserve some of it, but it's been driven by the defensive front, and they have done a good job of putting pressure on Sam Bradford and making things awfully hard on him.
Jake Long is checked back into the game at left tackle on this series. 3rd down and 9. And lofted to Thielen. What a beautiful throw. There is a penalty flag on the play. He beat Carroll in coverage.
You see the flag come in, waiting on the official to make the call, but Thielen just wins off the line of scrimmage.
Hands to the face. Number 22 of the defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, 1st down.
Nolan Carroll is the one called. He comes up and goes hands to the face, but he's trying to get a jam on Thielen off the line of scrimmage, and even if he wasn't penalized, he knocks him off enough, but then he can't regain himself. Thielen gets in behind him, and they're able to convert on that 3rd down.
27-yard gain on that reception, and into the hands of Cordero Patterson. Boy, did he take a lick, but held on to the football.
Well, you talked about Cordero Patterson and him being more involved this year. He's moved up to be the 3rd receiver. As you see the hit that he took, he's a big physical guy, and last year, yeah, predominantly a kick return guy, but those are the types of things they're doing with him. The quick screens, the slants, the hitches, get the ball in his hands quickly and let him run with it.
That was 3 years ago when the Vikings had 3 number 1 picks. That ball thrown away. Now remember that 2013, they had 3 picks in the 1st round. Patterson was one of them. The injured Sharif Floyd, who grew up right here in Philadelphia, was another, as was Xavier Rhodes.
Well, you look at just if you talk, as we show Mike Zimmer, you think about their defense, for instance. People say, why is their defense so good? And well, 4 of their top 5 guys are 1st-round picks. 2 of their top 3 linebackers are 1st-round picks. There's a lot of talent, and some of that talent was there before Mike Zimmer arrived. They just weren't able to get much out of it.
Rolling on a 3rd down, and that's a big tight end. Grew up in Cincinnati, did Kyle Rudolph. 2 sports star, was trying to decide would it be football or would it be basketball. He's a big, strong young man. He made the right pick.
He's a big target. They move the pocket, try to avoid the rush with Sam Bradford. Obviously not a threat as a runner, but get him out on the edge and a clean look, and a 1st down to Kyle Rudolph.
Down inside the 35, and slightly underthrown once more. Not sure where Hillman's going anyway. Days at 5 Eastern on FS1.
Well, we saw the last time the Vikings got down here, Jim Schwartz started bringing some pressure. We'll see now. They're about that same part of the field, 30-yard line. They're in field goal range. If he tries to create a negative play, here they come.
Here they come is right. And Bradford hit as he throws. It's picked up by Allen. And is that an incompleted pass or a fumble? It is a fumble, and the football belongs.
There's a fumble recovered by the defense. First down.
So there's the polar bear, Big Bo Allen. Off the edge, it was Rodney McLeod who appeared to jar it loose, and then the big fella Allen got it.
They come off the edge. You got Kendricks, he's there, and safety off the edge as well, and they strip him, and Bo Allen's able to then make a play on the ball, and it's just an excellent job with Jim Schwartz and the defense executing it, having to come up with a play to keep from giving up points, and there's Bo Allen's mom celebrating in the crowd.
And we mentioned they grew up in Minnesota. She's a cancer survivor, donning the pink today. God bless her indeed. And she's excited for her son, who, when he takes that helmet off, he's got a long ponytail. You see he's got the bandana. And he's throwing that hair out to have it all cut off and give it to some folks who could use it after going and undergoing cancer treatment.
Take another look. They bring the house. And Jake Long, as you said, he came in over to that side of the ball. They overload it with the pressure, and just nowhere for Bradford to go. The edge pressure as well gets there and knocks the ball loose. This defensive front has done a heck of a job here in this first half, getting after Sam Bradford.
Down to the 2-minute warning. Philadelphia with a chance to add to this 8-3 lead when we come back. Turnovers, a story so far today. We remind you to follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. 6 turnovers in this game today. Mike Zimmer's offense had not turned the ball over all season long. Today, 2 fumbles and an interception from their quarterback Sam Bradford. So now the ball at midfield, 2 minutes to go. They hand it off to Matthews, and that's an 8-yard carry on first down.
Well, if you think about it, Tom, the Vikings, their formula, as you look at what's happened through the first 5 games and then today for both of these teams, both with 3 turnovers, their formula, the Vikings, has been, as it was a year ago. Last year was run the football, protect it, play great defense. This year it's really been protect the football on offense, play great defense. And, you know, they're just not good enough in some key positions offensively to overcome a day like this. Not many offenses are.
Taken one way, come back to Burton, the backup tight end, the other way, and it's thrown well behind him and high. That should have been a first down.
Yeah, he's been a little off on some throws, and sometimes he's had people in his face, and understandably this one was just one he missed, and he knows it. And you know, this is a game right now, the way that it's gone, that Minnesota, this is a big decision here, and being able to make a stop.
Wow, look at this. They're going to go for it on a 4th down and 2.
I think they're probably going to try to draw him off sides. I can't imagine not punting the ball here.
Yep, play clock expires. Oh, a timeout was called. I beg your pardon.
All right, coming up on the Visa halftime, Geno Smith gets to start with the Jets as they host the Baltimore Ravens. The Colts try to make it 10 in a row against the Titans, and Cleveland tries yet again to get its first win of the season. We'll be ready for that and more coming up on the Visa halftime.
So a timeout is called. Kurt, thank you very much. Now, Troy, all right, I'm going to put you in the Doug Peterson shoes right now. You have an 8-3 lead. The other team has done next to nothing on offense. But having said that, do you want to hand on the ball? You know, with 1:21 left, if you fail to convert, you go in here?
I would punt here. I would not go for it. It looks like he's going to. They called timeout. They're going to, you know, I can't imagine them trying just the hard count again. But as well as their defense is playing right now, I would punt Minnesota deep and be satisfied going up 8-3.
Nearly lost it on a snap, and Wentz is going to get a first down. A near disaster, and the clock continues to roll as he's inside the 40-yard line. He beat Everson Griffin around the corner.
Well, it almost blew up, you know, him fortunately able to get back onto the ball. Zach Ertz was the one who comes around and makes a key block, which allows Wentz then to get on the edge. In a couple critical situations in this half, we've seen Wentz carry the ball.
Looking for the big play. And there is no penalty flag. How about that? And Dorial Green Beckham got locked up with Xavier Rhodes down there, and Beckham wondering what's going on. Well, it looked like he got a forearm to the belly and just knocked over right there.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's no flag there. Xavier Rhodes, he kind of arm bars him there, knowing he was not anticipating that Green Beckham was going to continue on the go route. Wentz takes a hit low at the end of that one. You know, we've seen that called as well, but a couple breaks there for the Vikings.
.49 seconds remain. Trying to fool Minnesota by a little delayed handoff to Matthews, and the Vikings not fooled, especially Eric Kendricks. Last time we had a halftime score of 8-3. Were you born yet? No,
I was not.
Oh, wow. Matthews inside the 20, down to the 17-yard line. Philadelphia has one timeout remaining and will spend it right here. It's their final timeout.
Well, Brandon Brooks, the right guard, he pulls around. He's able to pick off the linebacker bar. Jason Peters does a good job kicking out, and there's a nice lane. Then right inside that tackle. And now they're right in a position to come away with at least 3 points. And that decision by Doug Peterson to go for it on 4th down looks like it's going to pay off for him.
That was a 21-yard run. That's the first run this season against this Minnesota defense. It's gone for longer than 20 yards.
Yeah, you just don't see any plays like that very often against this Minnesota defense.
All right, so you're out of timeouts. Ball to 17. Pump fake to the end zone. Good coverage down there by the veteran. Boy, been around forever is Terrence Newman. Just turned 38 years old in his 14th year.
He plays it well. It's good technique. They're trying to run a double move on him on the outside. He doesn't bite. He was in a good position.
Well, he's had a nice career, hasn't he?
He really has. He's been with Zimmer now in Dallas. He went with them when Mike Zimmer became the defensive coordinator with the Bengals, and then Zimmer brought him to Minnesota when he became the head coach.
All right, so with 15 seconds left, the Eagles are going to go ahead and send out their kicker, Caleb Sturgis. This will be a 35-yard attempt. Timeout was called before the snap. Sturgis just one miss.
Minnesota. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Small screen, stadium size content. Watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. There's been a zany first half, a lengthy one. 5 straight possessions ending in turnovers in the first quarter alone. First time we've seen that since 2005. The only touchdown, a 98-yard kickoff return by Josh Huff. And this Philadelphia defense forcing the 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles by Sam Bradford, the former Eagle, and 1 interception.
Well, when you come into a game like this, Tom, and you've got good defenses and you're expecting a defensive battle, and now they're putting the offense back onto the field with 15 seconds to see if they can't take a shot.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I mean, you have 50, now you're out of timeouts again to repeat.
You got to be smart. I mean, I didn't mind the call by Peterson saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and take the 3 points. You got a young quarterback. Everyone has to know the situation. Ball cannot be in bounds and clock running. They're going to have an almost impossible time getting the field goal team onto the field.
Wentz is only 1 for his last 8 and looking to the end zone. Incomplete. All right, 10 seconds to try to get on 3rd down.
No, I think I don't think so, and I agree now. what Peterson is thinking. But to go back to what I was saying, when you've got defense and you expect it to be a defensive battle, the unit that has to then win is in special teams. And that's been the difference, in this first half was the kickoff return by Josh Huff. And that's what could very well decide this game if it continues is the play on the special teams making the difference.
All right, so now 10 yards, 35 yards out, and it is good. 7 ticks remain. 11-3. There's our score here in the opening half. The Eagles figure to go into halftime with a lead. And Troy, I guess before we even get to halftime, let's just start on the Minnesota side very quickly. They've had all the changes along the offensive front, which we've documented. They've had guys in and out today. They've got next to nothing going on offense. What do you do if you're Norv Turner?
Well, it's tough. I think the good thing right now is it's still a tight ball game, so they don't have to get away from they can't get in a situation where they're asking Sam Bradford just to simply drop back. I think they got to stick to what they're doing, but they do have to start getting the ball a little bit further down the field. The quick passing game that they have been known for through the first 5 weeks is great in not taking the sacks, but we've seen that defense continually come down on those routes, and there's just not much air right now in that defense. And to get it, you've got to start throwing some intermediate stuff and really trust that the line's going to hold up well enough.
Second time of day, ball has been blown off the tee. Still a pretty stiff breeze throughout this entire day in Philadelphia. Boy, it was howling here yesterday. And you could hear that crowd from Happy Valley, Pennsylvania last night celebrating the stunning upset of the Ohio State Buckeyes by the Nittany Lions.
That was a heck of a win by those Nittany Lions, wasn't it?
Yeah, they remind me a lot of Utah. Didn't they play UCLA yesterday? That one bounces into the end zone and through the back of the end zone.
I believe they did, yeah, to answer your question. My Bruins are off to a tough start.
Yeah, they are. But Rich Russo, our director, former lacrosse star at the Pennsylvania State University, he was very, very excited.
Y'all didn't have anything on that game, did you?
No. Nope. Bradford will take a knee. The only touchdown in the first half of this one, 98-yard kickoff return for Josh Huff. 11-3 Eagles. Vikings are unbeaten. 1 half to go. Let's check in back in Los Angeles. Today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. And that was today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Not a lot of excitement except for that 98-yard kickoff return. Well, you're making more history, Mr. Aikman. I mean, you win Super Bowls, you win MVPs, you go to the Hall of Fame, and here you are, an 11-3 halftime score.
That was a bizarre first half, as crazy as I've seen. As far as all the turnovers that took place.
Well, let's check in downstairs at halftime with Aaron Andrews.
Talked to Mike Zimmer going in, and he said his offense was flat out embarrassing. He said to me, we haven't blocked worth anything. We can't find a combination on the offensive line. I asked him what he's going to do about that in the second half, and he said he hopes somebody on the line can step up. Asked him about his quarterback, Sam Bradford. He says he's just simply been inaccurate. He's missing. I asked Coach Zimmer if the wind was a factor. He said no, he just can't get anything done right now.
All right. Strong words from a no-nonsense kind of guy. And that is Mike Zimmer. 60 years young, out of Lockport, Illinois. McKinnon is back in the game. He was injured in the first half, you may remember, and that's it. Had a good first down carry, a gain of 9. A lot of pressure by this Philadelphia defense on Sam Bradford.
Yes, there was, and as you see, just as he's trying to throw the ball, he's getting roughed up, and a couple different times. That time Connor Barwin comes around and makes a play, and then you got McLeod who put pressure on him as well. So yes, he has at times missed some throws, but I think it's had more to do with the pressure, and the offensive line issues for this Vikings offense continue.
Good patient running there by McKinnon. Waited on a block, got it from Kyle Rudolph on Connor Barwin. And that's a first down on back-to-back carries by Jerick McKinnon in his third year out of Georgia Southern.
Well, I got to be happy to get him back in there, but you know, like I said last year, when you've got Adrian Peterson back there and you look at these numbers, I mean, offensively for both teams, just not much there. It was all defense and all takeaways.
Well, the most incredible line on that stat comparison we just showed you there a moment ago is a line where it says turnovers and then points off turnovers. Combined 6 turnovers in this game. 3 points have been scored off those 6.
Yeah, because then the other team just gave it right back. You know, it just kept going back and forth. And, you know, I was going to say is when you've got Adrian Peterson, he makes up for some problems, you know, up front. And you know, last year they averaged over 4 yards a carry, and you know, without him, this running game has really suffered.
Blitz coming. Bradford gets away from the first one, but not the second one. It was Malcolm Jenkins initially, and then Hicks finished him off.
Kyle Rudolph, he went down. I couldn't tell if they were trying to, you know, maybe run some type of screen pass off of it, but the pass rush gets to Bradford. He's not able to do much other than just try to protect himself and bringing up what has kind of been the thing throughout this game, 3rd and long.
Bradham wraps him up and throws him down, a sack all the way to the 25.
Well, Asiata, he's here. He's going to come up. He's going to try to protect. He's not able to get it complete. His man, so Sam can't really step up, but the edge pressure off of right tackle Searles is what initially got Bradford's attention. 3rd and long, they pin their ears back. They've had success throughout this game, and that Vikings offense went the wrong direction.
Jeff Clark, a busy man today on the punt. And Sproles will let it bounce. Takes a favorable bounce for Minnesota. Down to the 23-yard line. First possession for Wentz and company. Look out down there now. Settle down. 11-3. Doesn't get any better now, does it? The rain didn't slow those young fellas down playing football yesterday. Gloucester County against Clearview. Great stuff.
Yeah, those kids at that age, watching them run around, and you know, a lot of those guys, they don't even look like they can hold their heads up. The helmet's so heavy.
You're right. Cutting it back to the inside is Ryan Matthews, and a pretty good carry on first down up close to the 30-yard line. Take a look who's here. There to the left of your screen is Mike Trout. Probably the best all-around player in Major League Baseball today. And well, you talk about guys that get it done out of the bullpen. Pair of left-handers. Flame-throwing Aroldis Chapman, Andrew Miller for the Cleveland Indians with a spectacular league championship series.
I was at a Rangers game a couple years ago when they opened up against the Angels, and I saw Trout. He looked like he could play a little football.
Sure
He's got some size.
He is a season ticket holder to the Eagles. He grew up in New Jersey, just up the road a ways.
Well, there hasn't been a lot going on here in this ball game. I think somebody probably just told him, hey, you're on TV. But yeah, he's on to other things. But I'll tell you, when you're Minnesota and your offense is struggling like that right now, it's a one-possession game at 8 points. It puts a lot of pressure on your defense because you start to think, man, you get down by 2 scores, you know, how's our offense going to be able to move the ball and get back in it? So they've got to be, you know, really good here on out. Try to slow, not that the Eagles have done much offensively, but, you know, any one play here or there can make a huge difference in the game.
Stone even brought out the sticks for the measurement there. It appeared he was beyond the marker and is for a first down. Let's go downstairs to Aaron.
In talking to Doug Peterson about his quarterback in that first half, guys, he said he really felt like Carson forced some things early, but was able to settle down towards the end of the first half. He told him the goal here for the second is just to keep continuing to manage it along. Don't force things like he did before. Also, another thing, as you can imagine, he stressed these penalties. He said you have to stop. One final note for the Vikings, Andrew Sendejo, guys, he is out with an ankle.
Tough break there for Minnesota. This is Smallwood who checks into the game. Tackled by Kendricks on a first down run, a gain of close to 4. And that looks like fifth-year lineman out of Miami of Ohio, the starting right guard, Brandon Brooks. Big free agent signee from Houston during the offseason, is injured. Been a lot of players getting nicked up and beat up here today, and we're only in the third quarter. No, that's not a misprint. That is our score. First time in the history of the NFL. A game at halftime had a count of 11-3. Eagles have run it every play to begin this second half. Closing out the second quarter, Carson Wentz was only 1 for his last 9 for negative yardage. Turn around and hand it off again. Spinning out of one tackle is Smallwood, and he's up to the 40. It'll bring up third down and 3.
Talk about how Carson Wentz finished out that first half, but you know, there's no quarterbacks really this year that have had much success against this defense. They come in with quarterback ratings against them, the Vikings defense, with the best in the league. Quarterbacks completing just 55%, so it's a challenge. I think everybody knew that. Doug Peterson, you know, as a former quarterback, 12-year career in the NFL, he knows that it's going to be a challenge. And I think these young quarterbacks, we heard Aaron Andrews' report, they're judged differently than they were when I came into this league. You know, here we are 6 games into his career and expecting him to be like a veteran quarterback.
And a penalty flag comes down. That was Trey Waynes, who got tangled up with Green Beckham, and this will be a first down for the Eagles.
Definitely there was contact before the ball was there, and I think Green Beckham kind of initiates that because he's
defense number 26. The ball he placed at the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
He works back to the ball as you should as a receiver. It's tight coverage, and so he's trying to drive back to the ball, and the contact occurs, and I do think it was the right call. But Green Beckham, he's a, you know, somewhat of a freak is the way they describe him. The guy's 6'5", and he runs routes and gets out of breaks like he's a smaller receiver, but he's a tough matchup.
Wentz dumps it off to Matthews. Flag comes down, and this one may come back as Matthews leaps into the air over Jaron Kearse, but it might come back. We'll see. And again, if it is, it's another huge penalty on Philadelphia, and that has been a big story for the Eagles.
I think they're going to get the rookie right tackle, Vaitai.
Wait a minute.
Illegal use of the hands to the face, defense number 98.
Wow.
Penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
That's Linval Joseph.
He's got the hands underneath the face mask. That's what was called. What I saw that was closest to us was Vaitai, number 72. He had hold of Robinson as he's trying to cut loose, and Robinson was hollering at the official for the call. The flag came out, but it wasn't the call that Robinson was expecting, nor I.
All right, so that play stands after the big completion to Ryan Matthews. And now a bobbled snap. Takes a favorable bounce And then it's Barnard watching as Sproles makes a reception inside the 10-yard line, and that is the first down to the 9. Lady Luck for the second time shining on Carson Wentz.
Yeah, this was a poor snap. The first time he bobbled it, he just took his eyes off the ball. This was kind of a hot sinking missile on him, low and away, and yet he was able to get back on it. So a big break there for the Eagles, being able to maintain possession of the ball and get out on the edge and then pick up a nice gain on the play.
In the third quarter, been lights out for Philadelphia, and the Vikings have not given up a single point in the third quarter in the first 5 games. That's about to change unless they turn it over, and here come flags all over the field again. 2 of them.
Holding, offense number 76. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's another penalty on Alan Barber, the left guard. Second time they've whistled him today.
Take a look, yeah. You see he's got his left hand on Linval Joseph. That's a good call.
By the way, Brandon Brooks, you see number 79 along that offensive front, has just come back into the game. So Wisniewski leaves after less than a handful of plays. This will be first and goal from a 19-yard line. This is Huff, who had the big kickoff return and gets a big chunk of it back all the way down to the 5-yard line.
It's like a running play in this offense, and to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, and excellent blocking on the edge by these receivers. You see the job they do on Captain Munnerlyn, and it allows Huff then, it's like a return game for him. Jordan Matthews, might have been able to get called there for a hold. He certainly had a hold of that jersey.
As Matthews and Aguilar out there blocking. 2nd and goal. Another bobbled snap. It's almost like these two teams are trying not to score touchdowns.
That ball came out a little bit odd. It was end over end and low, just a little different than what you're expecting. Carson Wentz, excuse me, he's having a tough time with some of these shotgun snaps he's getting.
3rd down and goal. You've got Green Beckham down there at the bottom of your screen in that big body. And they go to him, and he muscles his way into the end zone. His first touchdown is a Philadelphia Eagle for Dorial Green Beckham.
Looked like the right call there, that he had possession and it crossed the line, and they're playing zone coverage here. They come off it, and Kendricks is there and puts a hit on him right away, and Terrence Newman as well. But he's like I said earlier, he's a big physical receiver. He's able to get just enough yardage there and cross the line, and it's a great job of finishing off that drive.
So the first touchdown in this game by either offense, and the first in the Philadelphia career for Dorial Green Beckham. Vikings could be in some trouble with 1.5 quarters to go. Well, they're excited here in Philadelphia. They were really excited after a 3-0 start to the year, including a drubbing of the Steelers the last time they played on the home front. But then they went on the road in back-to-back weeks, losing a game they should have won, quite honestly, in Detroit. A Ryan Matthews fumble cost him a chance to nail it down in the 4th quarter. And then they got kicked around in D.C. Redskins running for 230 yards. But here they are with 5:45 to play in the 3rd quarter, trying to hand the Vikings their first loss of this season. after the touchdown to Green Beckham to make it an 18-3 game, Mike Zimmer is hoping his offense can start to find some answers. Only one time, and that was going back to their college days, have these brothers, the Kendricks, Eric and Michael, played against one another. Went to different colleges, one to Cal, the other to UCLA, and first play incomplete. And for more on the Kendricks brothers, let's check in with Aaron Andrews.
Yeah, the two brothers separated by 17 months, very close, played sports together growing up. I love this. They shared a room for 16 years in Fresno, California, and of course now they're sharing the field, as you mentioned, for the very first time in the NFL. 22 tickets purchased between the two of them. Don't know who's picking up that tab. Love this. They just bought their mama house together. She just moved in last week.
Well, how nice is that? Great stuff, Aaron. Thank you. That's Rudolph at tight end. Short of a first down by a yard, but third down coming up.
Well, it's been this kind of day for this Minnesota offense, and they're trying to run two crossing routes, and the two guys crossing run into each other. Kyle Rudolph and Diggs, and Sam Bradford's trying to find out which one's going to look at them and put the ball in their hands. If they hit them on the run, they pick up the first down.
They're going to run it. Asiata for a first down.
You know what happens here is there's 5 minutes left here in this third quarter for Minnesota. That this is a really important possession. You know, as this game moves along and you move into the fourth quarter and you're down 2 scores, I mean, the running game you can kiss goodbye, and that's not good with this defensive front and the matchups that we've already seen. So them being able to maintain some balance, this makes this particular drive here offensively really important.
Throw it on first down. Bradford steps away from trouble. There comes Hicks, who bats it into the air. And the athletic Jordan Hicks nearly had the batted ball and an interception to boot.
Well, it starts off poorly. Matt Asiata right here. They're going to go play action, but once he realizes the man that he has to block is coming on the rush, you got to abandon that fake then and make sure you secure the protection first, and he doesn't do that, and then it causes Sam Bradford to have to try to get outside the pocket with nothing there.
Jordan Hicks knocking it down. A 2nd and 10 at the 35. And a timeout. Well, there just looks to be so much confusion and disarray with this Minnesota offense today. Well, coming up Saturday, a huge day. We'll tell you about that when we come back after the timeout. Second down and 10 for Minnesota after the timeout. We have 4:26 to play in the third. And Philadelphia at home leading 18-3. First time we've called the name Fletcher Cox all day long. NFC's Defensive Player of the Month in September. But here in back-to-back weeks, he has caused huge penalties that have really hurt his team in Detroit and then against Washington.
Well, he's a load there in the middle. You're right about the penalties. He beats Fusco right inside, and he is a load. We haven't talked about him hardly at all in this ball game, coming off a Pro Bowl season last year, his first. Led the team with 9.5 sacks, and he's a heck of a football player, and was a real concern coming in this game for the Vikings.
Asiata cuts it to the outside, and Asiata across midfield. He'll be run out of bounds all the way inside the Philadelphia 40-yard line. That is strong running by Matt Asiata.
Well, it's 3rd and long, and they hand it off, and basically we're saying we're just going to play field position game, and Asiata's able to pick up a first down on 3rd and long. It's pretty good stuff. The offensive line, they were able to get up to the linebackers and block that second level of defense, and Asiata with some fancy footwork of his own to pick up the first.
There are a lot of great stories in the NFL about You know, some of the things as young men that some of these players overcome and things they go through once they get in the NFL. Asiata would certainly fit that bill. Nobody wanted him coming out of college at Utah. Nobody. So he shows up in Minnesota as a college free agent. They cut him. He was out of football for an entire year. Worked in an industrial supply warehouse for an entire year. They gave him another crack at it. 2 years later, he led the team in rushing. He's played every game for the Vikings the last 4 seasons.
Well, he's their best pass protector as well. He's got good hands. He can do a lot of different things, and he's a pretty good runner, as you said, once he has the ball.
McKinnon again, and he'll be wrapped up. Carroll is there along with Hicks. It'll bring up a third down. 3:30 Eastern on FS1.
They bring Kyle Rudolph down here to the bottom. He's a big target here on 3rd and short.
Asiata, and he's able to lean forward very close to a first down. We'll see exactly where they spot it. It's not a guarantee that he got this first down.
Well, I thought Bradford was really casual with the football once he got it. If he had gotten it right away and thrown it out, it's an easy first down, but he kind of held it for just long enough to allow the defensive back to come up and then make a play.
And it is a first down, by the way. So 10th play of the drive, and Asiata's been a big part of it. They fake it to him. Bradford. Completed pass to Diggs to the 15-yard line, and another first down.
It was Stephon Diggs. He had a heck of a season last year as a rookie, and he's even better this year. And talking to these coaches, he's one of the real great competitors on this team and got exceptional quickness, really strong hands. He was a real surprise last season as a guy who was drafted in the 5th round, but he's a heck of a football player.
Number 14 with a gain of 14. He beat Jalen Mills to the far sideline. And well, there have been so many injured players on each team so far in this game today.
It's been very disjointed. There's been a lot of injuries, a lot of penalties, a lot of clock stoppages. And you know, that last play, Bradford, you know, he kind of got underneath center and looked like maybe they were going to try to get into a little bit of a hurry up. I know Bradford liked some of that stuff, and don't know if they were going to try to get back on the ball quickly after this reception to Diggs or not, but with Mills going down, another stoppage in play.
Mills back up on his feet.
You don't see the head coach go out there that often, especially for too many rookie players, but Doug Peterson, he went all the way across the field, all the way almost to the other sidelines to check on Jalen Mills.
Mills was a 4-year starter at LSU. And then his senior year, he broke his ankle halfway through the season, and that's when his draft stock really slipped. All right, here we go. 1st and 10, 32 seconds left. They're in the Wildcat. And again, McKinnon can throw the football now. We'll see if they ask him to do it. He's going to run it. Stiff arm, may have gotten away with a penalty there. Looked like he grabbed the face mask of Rodney McLeod, and McKinnon, who was shaken up earlier, is on his hands and knees again.
Right at the end here, you're going to see him kind of with a little move that, well, he got kicked at the back. That's what caused it. I was wondering if he was going to be able to get up, and he's going off to the sidelines once again. We'll see if he's able to return, but yeah, this has been a physical game for him now. Obviously, he's upset with what just took place. But, yeah, McKinnon, he gets in that Wildcat. We saw it last 2 weeks ago when they played, and they sprinkle it in, and he can do a lot of different things.
Of the 3rd quarter, Fox NFL Sunday back after a word from your local Fox station. Set to begin the 4th quarter. Minnesota 5-0 on the year. The Eagles started 3-0. They've lost 2 straight. 3rd trip inside the red zone for Minnesota offensively. First 2 trips have not been kind to him. He'll stay on the ground with Asiata, and he's to the 5. In that red zone, we mentioned those first 2 trips. A pick and a fumble.
It's a pretty tough running there by Asiata. You see the footwork that he has, but well, he finished that run off nicely. There was some contact at the end of that play.
Well, normally this is where the Vikings look to the big tight end, number 82, Rudolph.
Well, you got to believe that this is 4-down territory, so 3rd and short. I mean, if they're going to go for it on 4th, which I believe they would, there's a lot of options here on 3rd and 1 if they want to go play action.
Wow. On 3rd down and goal, they hand it off to Zach Line, who has not touched the ball the entire game. I mean, it might be 4-down territory, as you mentioned, Troy, but that's a rather peculiar call on 3rd down. The reason the official, if you're wondering about that, is you have to allow the other team to substitute.
Well, they're just trying to pick up the 1 yard, get a quick hitter there to Zach Line, and now here they are going for it on 4th and 1.
All right, 4th down and a yard. We'll see if they get there. And very, very close. Very, very close. It's all going to depend on exactly where they spot it. Asiata trying to plow forward. Bo Allen in there at a stop along with Kendricks.
He's got no movement on that offensive line, and from here, Tom, it didn't look like he made it. It's going to just come down to where these officials saw it and where they spot it. Sometimes that's hard to tell exactly, but Zach Caron's the extra offensive lineman that comes in, 67, and he just allows the guy to shoot the gap and clog up that hole.
You know, what we can't see there and what you don't know is and we'll take a look here where you're talking about.
Yeah, you see Caron, he does not get down, and so he kind of clogs it up then, and Zach Line trying to get through there is just a bunch of bodies, and that's a big-time stop with 2 chances to get a short yard on 3rd and 4th down, and the Eagles, they rise to the occasion and make the stop.
Mike Zimmer really upset on that sideline, Troy.
Yeah, I guess after the 3rd down play, he was wanting a measurement, which he did not get, and then he apparently was trying to call a timeout before the 4th down snap, and none of the officials saw him trying to get the timeout called there. So a couple things kind of got his ire, and he's letting those officials know about it.
So on 1st down from their own 5-yard line, the Eagles with the football. Daniil Hunter on the stop, a gain of less than a yard.
You know, a lot of times on 3rd down like that, even though you know you didn't pick up the 1st down, you ask for a measurement to buy yourself some time to just get regrouped as an offense without having to burn a timeout. You know, that might have been why he was wanting a measurement there after that 3rd down play to kind of, you know, collectively decide what they wanted to do on 4th. But hey, this defense for Minnesota, they've scored 2 defensive touchdowns already this year, and the way this game's going, they're going to need to score another one if they're going to get back in it.
Jason Peters not in the game right now. They brought in Matt Tobin at left tackle. And it's back-to-back running plays with no room to run. Greenway, the first tackler there. And another penalty flag comes in.
The flag came in late, too.
Would be the 11th penalty so far in this game.
On the previous play, number 64 reported as eligible. On this play, he then went to an ineligible position and was covered up. As a result, that's an illegal formation penalty. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
And that's precisely the guy we were talking about replacing Jason Peters. That was Matt Tobin who came in the game, number 64. Peters over on the sideline.
Well, they've run it on the first 2 downs, and now at 3rd and 9. You got to be real careful here if you're Carson Wentz, and you wonder if they're going to try to take a shot and get a first down backed up.
Well, they're going to hand it off to Smallwood. And he stopped short of the 10-yard line, so it'll be 3 and out for the Eagles, and the Vikings figure to get very good field position as we close in on the 12-minute mark.
No, but I like what Doug Peterson did there, that you're backed up again, a young quarterback against an aggressive physical defense, and moving the ball has been difficult. That just running the ball on 3 downs, playing to your defense isn't all bad, especially even 3rd and long there. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think it was just a smart play calling on his part.
Very short punt. And this is Shields. He's run back 2 so far this year, and this time he fumbles. And is this going to be the 4th turnover of the game for Minnesota? It is. Trey Burton recovers a fumble by Marcus Shields. Never had a handle.
He was indecisive at first as to whether or not he was actually going to field the ball, and that indecision led to him not being able to secure it properly. Initially, I think he was going to let it bounce, but when it got such a favorable bounce, he went and got it. But it's just another costly mistake. I mean, it's just, there's penalty, there's all kinds of stuff that's happening in this game for both teams. But you look at the way that Mike Zimmer's team has played in this one, particularly on offense, now on special teams. Hard to believe they were 5-0 coming into it. This has not been a well-played game on their part.
Minnesota's had the ball 3 times inside the Eagles' red zone and not come away with a single point. Darren Sproles still on his feet. Inside the 35, down to the 34-yard line for Darren Sproles.
Well, Jason Kelce, he does an excellent job, and he's the one who actually is able to spring Sproles. It looked like he made a block on Kendricks, but Kelce's able to get to the next level, and also some missed tackles, and you just don't see those kinds of things against this Vikings defense.
Kill it.
Sproles slips past one defender, his second defender, and picks up close to 3.
This Darren Sproles is really something. He's been one of my favorite players for a long time. He's had a heck of a career, and I know North Turner was the head coach in San Diego when he was playing in San Diego. He loved him, didn't want to see him leave, but they let him out the door. He went to the Saints and had a heck of a few years there with Drew Brees, and Brees didn't want to see him leave either. And then the Eagles, they were able to pick him up, and he's had some real success here with the Eagles also. He's just one of those dynamic players.
He's closing in on 17,000 all-purpose yards in his career. They fake it to Sproles, throw it across the middle, short of a first down to Jordan Matthews.
Well, right now with 3rd and 4, and yeah, you want to pick up a first down, and you want to continue to possess the ball and take time off this clock, but 3 points is big right now in this ball game. If they're able to make it a 21-3 game and extend it to a 3-possession game, Carson Wentz has to know that and be smart with what he's doing here, because they're well within field goal range.
Wentz 14 of 25, 123 yards. Lays it off for Sproles, and he'll get there. Very close. Let's see where they spot it. Right at the marker. The 22-yard line. They may have to measure this. It's that close. It is a first down.
Eric Kendricks, the linebacker, he's man for man on Sproles, and you're going to see that he has to try to get out there and then make a play and keep him from picking up the first down. And it looks like it's a first down to me. And then the blocking on the outside, which Vikings trying to come off it, but it was one-on-one with Kendricks, and Sproles wins the battle.
Well, now you're down to the 22. Huff out of the backfield, spins out of a tackle, and close to another first down. Needed to get to the 12-yard line. They're wrestling for that football down there. But Huff still has it. It is a first down to the 11. You know, it's hard to believe it was only 8 years ago that Doug Peterson was a high school coach at Calvary Baptist Academy in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's hard to believe now, Doctor. That is 8 years ago.
Yeah, he had a nice extension, and then after those years there, and as the head coach in high school, he hooks up with Andy Reid, and then he goes with him to Kansas City, and now he's the head coach, and he's done a nice job here in the early part of this year.
Second down.
You know, Doug Peterson last year, he started calling plays in the second half of the season in the second half of games. Andy Reid would let him call the games, and he got some experience of doing that. And when he became the head coach, he wanted to continue to do it. And, you know, and you see him there as he's looking at his call sheet. And as a guy who played in this league and understands the quarterback position, he was with Favre there in Green Bay as well. He was in Philadelphia when McNabb came in as a rookie. I think he's the right guy to help bring Carson Wentz along.
Wentz. Oh, boy. Nowhere close to the intended receiver, Aguilar. I want to ask you about that, Troy. You know, you look at the top two quarterback drafts, and this isn't any indictment in any way, shape, or form on what's going on with Jeff Fisher, but he's a defensive guy. They took Jared Goff, #1 in the draft, right? They have a former defensive coordinator who's now on the offensive side of the ball with the Rams, as opposed to here in Philadelphia where you've got a former NFL quarterback that can help a young quarterback. Does that make a big difference?
I think if you're going to draft a guy that high and put that much stock in a quarterback, you better at least have somebody very qualified coaching him up.
Of course, Frank Reich also. That one is very close to the 2-yard line on the carry by Sproles. They needed to get just beyond the 1 to get a first down. Well, fourth down. Do you go ahead and make it a 3-possession game?
Absolutely. Yeah, this isn't even a decision.
Yep.
You know, you go back to the end of the first half. I mean, Doug Peterson, it surprised me. I mean, him going for it there on fourth down, you know, that was a gutsy call. I mean, if he doesn't make it, and then you're giving the ball, you know, not quite at midfield, but 40-yard line or where it was excellent field position. You're giving the ball to Minnesota with 3 timeouts. They made it. They get 3 points out of that drive, and done a nice job with this game.
Sturgis right down the middle. And now a 3-possession game with 6:09 to go. Philly trying to hand the Vikings their first loss of the year. Return trip to Philadelphia for Sam Bradford and his former boss, Jeffrey Lurie, the chairman and CEO of the Philadelphia Eagles, came down to visit with Sam Bradford.
Yeah, we had a chance to visit with Jeff Lurie on Friday, and always good to see him. And you know, he had a lot of really good things to say about Sam. You know, they talked about, you know, where they were as an organization, and you know, they were able to move up a little bit in the draft. They started evaluating those quarterbacks and thought, hey, we don't know when we may have an opportunity like this again. Certainly the Eagles have been a solid team for many years under his ownership, and they move up, and it made Sam Bradford expendable, which ended up being a good trade for really both teams.
Lurie, the winningest owner in Eagles franchise history. Picture worth 1,000 words for the leader and the trailer. Minnesota with the football, and after the field goal by Sturgis, a 21-3 Philadelphia lead. 6:09 left. And by and large, that's been the extent of this Minnesota passing game today. I mean, neither team has thrown it well at all. There's a penalty flag in the secondary. If this play stands, the Vikings will go under over 100 yards passing in the game on that play. with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Looks like they're going to call it on Philadelphia from the reaction, but you just get tired of seeing all these flags.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense number 21. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Leotis McKelvin, there's contact, not much, but it's enough to draw the flag. I think, you know, sometimes there's penalties, you got to call the penalties, but sometimes they're nothing, and you know, you could literally throw a flag on every down if you wanted to, and too often this year these officials have done that.
Rudolph up to the 40-yard line and a first down. Clock under 6 to go. 5:40 and rolling.
Yeah, the Vikings really aren't in too big of a rush. You know, guys still kind of walking around a little bit.
Asiata again, and Jenkins wraps him up. A wild finish going on in the Motor City. How about it, Carissa Thompson?
Ooh, Matt Stafford, if the score holds up, now has 24 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime. He's done it 4 times this year. The score is 20-17 with 14 seconds left. Tom?
Well, you never know. Carissa, thank you very much. I would send the Lions to a 4-3 record. It looks like this is going to be a loss for Minnesota. I mean, I know we still have 4:56 to go, but
well, it will be if they keep throwing 6-yard passes. You know, I mean, the Eagles will give that up the rest of this game. I mean, at some point, Sam Bradford, you got to throw something down the field. Otherwise, you might as well just be running the ball. You're going to run out of time.
Well, there it is. There's a little, you know, 3-yard pass attempt that would have been a first down. So it brings up 4th down and 3. Mike Zimmer's team would slip to 5-1. Green Bay picked up its 4th win against 2 losses on Thursday against Chicago.
Well, it's a crazy league, you know. From one week to the next, you know, you just don't know. And I saw Mike Zimmer over there shaking his head. This is the last thing he expected, the way they played.
And batted into the air and turning it over on downs. Looked like Watkins got a hand on it. The Eagles will get the ball with a chance to tie a ribbon around this one. A rough return to Philadelphia for Sam Bradford. Not a lot of offense today. You see Huff with 4 catches. You may remember he ran the kickoff back 98 yards for a touchdown in the second quarter. And Ryan Matthews has rushed for 4.2 per carry. Not a lot of attempts, but that's really good against Minnesota.
It really is. And coming into this game, the Vikings had only given up over 3 yards rushing in a ball game 1 time. So a good day running the football. Kudos to the offensive line, Ryan Matthews.
Matthews trying to turn the corner and unable to do so. Is that ball loose?
Sure looked like it might have come out. Question is, was he down?
And it is Minnesota football. Okay, that is one area they better get cleaned up with Ryan Matthews.
It's Xavier Rhodes, as he's making the play, he's able to get enough of the ball, and Ryan Matthews just trying to stay inbounds, but he just got to hang on to it. And now the Vikings down plenty. They come back out on the field offensively and see if they can do a little more this time.
I mean, it was his fumble against Detroit in the final couple of minutes that kept Philadelphia from going to 4-0 on the year, and he's always had a problem hanging on to the ball. 13th lost fumble of his career, and over the last 7 seasons in the NFL, that's tied for the most.
Well, especially at this point in the game, the yards aren't of importance. It's just hanging on to the ball and keeping the clock running.
So 4:30 left. That's Cordero Patterson, and Malcolm Jenkins, a sure tackler, wraps him up. You know, you look at Philadelphia, though, the schedule. And look, the Vikings came into this game at 5-0. But, Troy, as you pointed out from the very beginning, at least for this week, and we'll see how it plays out moving forward, it's a 5-0 Vikings team on the offensive side of the ball. And you said it before this game ever started, that especially because of that offensive line, there are a lot of questions looking forward for what Minnesota is going to be capable of doing. So Philadelphia says before this game, we've got a fighting chance to win this one. No one batted away, but you know, you look at the next 6 opponents will actually include Minnesota here today. They're going to play 6 straight games against teams with a combined record of 25-9.
Yeah, well, this is Brandon Graham off the edge. I mean, this has been a reoccurring thing throughout this game is the pressure. And like I said, I think there's some matchups that the Vikings like, but they've not been able to take advantage of it because they can't hang on to the ball.
Patterson again.
I mean, right now, these yards, this is going to help statistically, but this is not impressive to me. You know, throwing these checkdowns and short crossing routes. And
defense number 90. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
Let's take a look at Philadelphia. We talked about their schedule. Take a look at the teams they'll be playing in the next month. We got an unbeaten Minnesota team today. Team that's probably been the best in the conference, Dallas, on the road. Giants on the road. Atlanta, a division leader, and Seattle. That is an incompleted pass.
Well, on this one, I'll tell you, Sam's got to be a little more aggressive in the pocket and hang on to the ball. You've been getting it knocked out of your hand throughout this game, and step up and have a little urgency back there as well. But
so you think about that schedule for the Eagles, 3 of the next 4 weeks against division leaders, man. I mean, you know, look, they know it. But look, I don't think anybody, as you brought up earlier, thought the Eagles were going to start the year 3-0 the way they did, especially with that 3rd game, an emphatic win against the Steelers. Throwing down to the corner, catch made inside the 10, a first down to Thielen.
Well, look, there were question marks about this Eagles team coming into this game. I think there's still question marks, but they beat a team that was 5-0, you know, and they're challenged. The Vikings are, as we said, offensively, but yet they're able to win. We're going to find out a lot more about this Eagles defense and how they hold up against the run after giving up so much to Washington when they face the Dallas Cowboys.
They got a guy named Ezekiel Elliott on that team. Two-minute warning, 1st and goal. The Vikings have had the ball inside the red zone 3 times. This is a 4th. They've not scored a single point in the game. Flag down again, incomplete. This will be a hold against Minnesota, quite sure.
Holding, offense number 76. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's Alex Boone.
Here's the left of your screen. They run a twist up front, and that's a takedown right there. Alex Boone, one of those guys that they brought in along with Andre Smith to help try to shore up that offensive line coming into the season. Smith goes down a couple weeks ago, and Alex Boone's been battling a bit of a hip injury as we take a look at what they have ahead of them. And you know, they're in a not so good division right now with Chicago and Detroit. Detroit coming away with the win today with the late touchdown by Stafford, but we'll have to regroup for Mike Zimmer and come out and see what they can get going next week.
Well, look, right now, because of this drive, 249 yards. That's unsportsmanlike conduct, which backs them up. They were inside the 10-yard line. Now they're all the way at the 32. Asiata again. He's having a career day.
Well, we talked about it coming in, Tom, about the defense for Philadelphia and that front 4, and they've done their job. You know, they did their part, and that was going to determine the success. And as a result, their defense has played well.
Tell you who's been everywhere today is Brandon Graham. Boy, I mean, He's back in that 4-3 scheme again when they made him a #1 pick. Then they went to 3-4, and here's Graham on Bradford again.
Yeah, Bradford comes up hobbling a little bit. He takes a hit at the end of that play. But you're right, Brandon Graham has been back there, and I don't think anyone was happier about Jim Schwartz coming in and then going from the 3-4 back into the 4-3 defense. He's been back there visiting Sam Bradford on every pass play. Yep. He's had a heck of a day.
30-second timeout.
And you can see that there's some uncomfort there by Sam Bradford.
Yeah, a little woozy walking back. He's been hit 19 times today. Of course, Bradford is taking a place after the knee injury to Teddy Bridgewater. And for more on Teddy, here's Aaron Andrews.
Yeah, whenever you see Sam Bradford kind of limp around, you think of 2013, 2014 when his seasons ended with a torn ACL, and he told us this week he can relate to Teddy, obviously. He's trying very hard to keep him positive. Teddy at the practice facility every single day. He said the biggest thing, it's just devastating that it happened in preseason. Guys work so hard in the offseason, and then it's all gone. And Troy, as you know, there is no timetable on Bridgewater's return here. They don't know how long it's going to take him to get back, if he can.
That's a big if. It sure is. Talking with Mike Zimmer, he simply doesn't know. Anywhere from 14 months to 2 years is what they say, and there's no guarantees. And there's no guarantee Sam Bradford's going to make it through this season either, with the pass that he has had and then also the amount of times that he's been getting hit this year.
To the end zone, and a flag comes in, a touchdown to Cordero Patterson.
Well, they got McLeod, and he came in, and it did look like from here that it was to the head at the end of this play. Cordero Patterson, he runs the post route. Sam sticks it in there.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown.
At the very end, as McLeod passes him.
Hit to a defenseless receiver, number 23. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
You can't go to the head and neck injury, and he goes with the shoulder, but that doesn't matter if you're hitting in that area.
So for the first time today, the Vikings find the end zone. We are 34 seconds away from the Minnesota Vikings being handed their first loss of this 2016 season on their 4th trip inside the red zone. They just scored their first touchdown of the game. 5 straight possessions. We had 5 turnovers by the 2 teams in the first quarter. Huff ran back a kickoff 98 yards for a touchdown, the only score in the first half. Second half, Green Beckham found the end zone on a 4th down and less than a yard. Minnesota denied the first down. Each team has turned it over 4 times in the game today. It's been a very sloppy game. And Minnesota, for the first time all year long, allows more than 16 points in a game. In fact, you got to go back a handful of games last year since they've given up this many points in a game.
Well, you're Mike Zimmer, you're saying, man, how do we get 4 takeaways and lose a football game? And as you said, it's because their own offense turned it over 4 times as well. And this team is as good as they are defensively. They're so challenged on offense that they can't afford to turn the ball over. That's why they got off to a 5-0 start, because they were so opportunistic defensively. They played good, smart offense, protecting the football. And man, they let it get away from them this afternoon.
All right, now the onside kick attempt, and over the head of Zach Ertz. Philadelphia will be able to end this one. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with NAMI in support of Mental Illness Awareness Week. Join us in replacing the stigma with hope by learning more about how to be stigma-free, and visit foxsportsupports.com. Pressure all day today on Sam Bradford. Hit nearly 20 times in this game.
They were coming from all over. I mean, Sam Bradford's going to see green in his sleep. They were coming on the outside with Brandon Graham, Connor Barwin. We saw McLeod get there. Saw a lot of different guys, and those guys played hard, and they were the difference in this game up front. And I thought Jim Schwartz, he was challenged after last week. Like I said, this whole defense was, and they came out and they dominated this football game, and they're going to leave this game 4-2.
And somewhere across this great country of ours, all those members of the 1972 Miami Dolphins who are popping the corks on champagne. The Vikings, the last unbeaten team.
I don't know if they're doing that or not at this stage of the season.
Hey,
but I like where you were going with that. I like that.
21-10 the final. We'll be back to wrap this one up. Vikings their first loss in the season. Today's Domino's stat tracker, really not much to speak of at all offensively for either team. 8 turnovers in the game, but the bottom line is Carson Wentz and the Eagles go to 4-2. Minnesota to 5-1. Our producer Richie Zions, our director Rich Russo, for Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews, and our entire crew, Tom Brenneman, saying so long from Philadelphia. The guys from LA coming your way.